happen for myself and my family. There's no way that this is real, man, it can't be.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Modify Your Life podcast, where I am your host, Anthony Lopez, also known as Heavy to Modified. And today we are doing a solo. And where this solo came from was actually one of my online clients, which I thought was really cool. And I'm going to share this interaction with our Zoom call. Literally was today. And it just really opened up my eyes to, people's priorities and how our priorities need to match with who we want to be. And today's group Zoom call, I had a conversation and I came up with this analogy for those of your sports fans out there, which is very interesting because I'm not a sports fan. A lot of people clown on me for it, but I'm not really into sports. I could go my whole entire rest of my life without watching football and stuff like that. It's just not what I'm into, but I'm into action sports. Like I'm into doing sports like snowboarding and dirt bike riding, stuff like that. But watching it and football stuff is just not really my thing. But, as we're on this group Zoom call today, I was just like, at first I started off, I just really wasn't into it. I wasn't really in it like all day. I've just been super out of it. But, as I continue to keep on going through the day and I keep having these Zoom calls and I keep on talking to different people and just kind of like, they all had something in common today, was just like different priorities, right? Or do our priorities fall in line with who we want to become? And so the Zoom call that I had today was the second time I was talking with them. And he's like, hey, he sent me a message earlier. He's like, hey, coach, he's like, can we talk? I'm going to Disneyland and I want to be prepared. I want to be successful. Like, I don't want to yo-yo anymore. And I was like, yeah, man, we could definitely talk. You want to hop on a phone call? And next thing you know, he's like, I booked a Zoom call right now. So I booked for like an hour later. I was like, all right, cool. So I'm thinking like he's going to Disneyland today, right? Or this weekend, right? So he wants to be prepared. All right, cool, man. Like, doesn't want to yo-yo. He wants to hold himself accountable. His priorities are to become better. And that's where our priorities all should be, is become better. And then so I hop on the call with him and I'm talking to him and he's like, yeah, coach, and not this week, but next week I leave at Disneyland. I was like, in my head, I'm like, next week. I was like, wait, you're not going this week? He's like, no, I'm going next week. I'm the type of person that I want to be prepared because I want to win. I want to be successful. I don't want to mess up anymore. And which got me thinking, like, look, his priorities are 2 weeks ahead. He is planning his success 2 weeks ahead when he could easily just hit me up on Wednesday and say, hey, coach, what do you recommend me eating? I'm going to Disneyland. But he wants to be successful so bad. He could taste his success. He could see his success. He could see his finish line. He wants to prepare himself to be successful in 2 weeks, which had me really thinking, like, where are all of our priorities at? Like, do we plan out our success or do we plan out our failure? Because in the same not the same conversation, but in the same week conversation, I've also talked to people that have said, hey, coach, I'm just let you know this weekend I'm not tracking at all because it's my birthday. Or, hey, coach, I'm not tracking this weekend at all. I'm just going to take it easy this weekend. I got family and friends coming to town, right? And in my head, like, the priorities, if they don't align with who you want to become, if your priorities don't align with who the future, the next best version of yourself looks like or is going to be, then do you really prioritize becoming a better version of yourself? Do you really want to become the better version of yourself? Or like, is it just cool just to say it? Like, I really want to be a millionaire, but that's it. Like, there's no game plan. There's no structure. They're just words. There's just a whole bunch of letters that we put together that turn into a word, but then there's no action. So like, what is it? Because, when I first started my weight loss journey, I just wanted to lose weight. I didn't know how. I didn't know. I can't say I didn't know what to do, because we all know what to do when it comes to lose weight, right? It's the same thing we hear all the time. Eat less, work out more. Now, everyone knows how much I cannot stand that, but, there is a little bit of truth to that, right? But at the same time, as we talk about what we want to do or who we want to become, when I first started my weight loss journey, say one of the first 20 times I started my weight loss journey, there was never really any action, any thought process to it. It's just something that I wanted. It was something that I wanted just a little bit enough to sign up for the gym, or just a little bit enough to go get some boil some chicken and some vegetables, right? Because carbs are bad. But it wasn't until this time around, 4 or 5 years ago, where I said I wanted to do something. Not only did I take action, but I started prioritizing it. And by prioritizing my weight loss journey, what I mean by that is I started prioritizing myself. And I started being very cautious about what I was doing and where I was giving the time to. Now, granted, it wasn't right away, right? This is 5 years in the making, my whole entire life actually in the making, but 5 years I've been taking myself serious. 5 years I've been actually taking action to the words that I've been talking about and action to the goals I've been setting to myself, right? But how many of us as priorities don't match with who we want to become? Like, what do we prioritize? Like, to us, what is most important? Because if you really sit back and you ask yourself that question, who is most important to you? What is most important to you? If you ask me right now, who is most important to me, I know for sure I would say myself. Because I'm a strong believer in you have to become selfish in order before you become selfless. If you ask me what's important to me, I'm going to tell you being the best version of myself. And I know that's such like a blah statement of like, be the best version of yourself. But I really take pride in every single day knowing that I'm pushing myself to be a better person. Whether it be physical, whether it be mental, or whether it be emotional, or it be financial that day. But if you would ask me this question, who's most important to me or what most important to me, I feel like maybe I'd probably just answer like, oh, my family. And then if you ask like, what's most important to me, if we're talking materialistic stuff, it was probably like my Camaro. And then I think that would be it when it comes down to like what's most like a materialistic or something like that. What's most important to me? Because I didn't know. I just thought that this was a weight loss journey. Right? I know that I said I want to lose weight. I know that I wanted to lose weight. I know that I was tired of being obese. I know that I was tired of waking up in actual utter pain. But at the same time, I don't know if I don't think I prioritized it right away. And as I'm sitting here like having this conversation and also thinking at the same time, I'm really thinking back and saying like, I don't even know if I even started even for like the right reasons, right? I just know that I wanted to start. I wouldn't even say I first started off and I prioritized myself and I'm doing this for myself. I think I was just, got to a point. I was at a point in my life where I was just obviously depressed and stressed and just not comfortable in the life that I was living. Like I just wasn't comfortable. I didn't see my life getting any better than it was. And at that point in my life was miserable. There's nothing more miserable than by your poor choices of eating, the normal day-to-day stuff is taken away from you. Things were so difficult. Stairs were difficult. Getting in the car was difficult. Wiping my ass was difficult. Showering was a long process. Putting my shoes on was difficult. So I don't want to sit here and ever lie to someone and say that, oh, when I started my journey, I seen the future and I believed in myself. No, I had to lie to myself. And I didn't prioritize myself. I definitely didn't prioritize my health for sure. But, over years and years and years, as I try to lose weight, I wanted to become better. I talked about becoming better. I went to the gym. I can't really say I focused on my nutrition too much. But I would say I did do the crash diets. I did good for a week or 2 or 3, right? But it wasn't until I started prioritizing knowing nutrition, learning nutrition, prioritize putting myself first and not saying yes to every single person, not going out every single weekend because that's what was expected of me. Not drinking back a whole thing of vodka because that was what's expected of me, or drinking 4 or 5 Four Locos that night because that was what's expected of me. Once I started doing the things that started aligning with what my priorities should be, or what my voice was talking about, and once I started aligning my priorities with that, is once everything started changing, I started taking myself serious. And once I started seeing change in that, now once again, I did have to lie to myself. I was over 600 pounds. Couldn't remember the time I was in my 300s, let alone 200s. And I've tried to lose weight so many times before. I've lost 150 plus pounds before and I gained it all back. So this time around, I got to say that I had to lie to myself. I didn't prioritize myself. But at the end of the day, I knew that this needed to get done. So I'd always like to speak on old version of myself and new version of myself because I hate when people make it seem like this journey is super easy. It's not easy to live a life of satisfying everyone else and then prioritize yourself. It's not easy to be the person to go to for everyone else's problems, but yet you have no one to go to for your own problems. So when they just think it's just a weight loss, they think it's just what we put in our mouth. It's not just, for most of us, for a lot of us, it's not just what we put in our mouth. It's what we feed our brain. It's what we feed our day-to-day, what we consume physically and what we consume mentally. And I remember being at my heaviest, everything was negative because I surrounded myself by everything was negative. The action I took towards my life was negative because the decisions I made ended up to be negative because my poor choices of eating, my poor choices of drinking, my poor choices of smoking cigarettes, my poor choices of just not becoming the man that I wanted to be and the man that I know I should be and the man that I was raised to be. So as I continue to work on myself and I continue to prioritize myself, I've lost a fair amount of people in my life. I did have a phone that rang every second of the day. And then, it started to slowly but surely kind of not ringing. And at one point in my life, I know like it was kind of hurtful. Like I kind of felt bad. Like I felt like, whoa, they don't like this perversion of myself. They don't like this guy. Or why this? Why that? And it wasn't that they didn't like me. It wasn't that this person wasn't cool enough. But what I don't think people realize is that when the version of herself that they did like, that fun Anthony that was drinking a whole bottle of vodka, drinking Four Locos, Nos balloons, cigarettes, was me at the most miserable time of my life. Honestly, the most depressed, the most stressed, the heaviest I've ever been, and mentally lonely. Right? So it's not that people didn't like the Anthony Lopez, who I was becoming. It was more of that they didn't know the real Anthony Lopez because at the end of the day, I didn't know the real Anthony Lopez because I didn't prioritize myself. I didn't put myself first. My priorities were, let me talk about something, but let me not take action. Right? Let me say that I'm eating clean, but then stop at McDonald's on the way home every single day after I get off of work. Let me say that I'm at the gym, but I'm really chilling in the sauna for 2 minutes, and then I go sit down and hop on my phone for about 25, 30 minutes, and then I go home. But I told everyone I went to the gym 3 times this week. Until I prioritized what I needed to do to be successful in my journey, until I prioritized myself and I didn't do things for other people, it's like now I've like, oh wait, like this is Anthony Lopez. Like this is the person who I want to become. Like this is the person I want to be. Like these are the things that actually make me happy. This is what I've always wanted to say to this person, but I didn't because I was so scared to lose them as a friend. We've had a couple of those conversations too, But it just really got me thinking when I was talking to him. I'm like, man, like the people that are listening to this, like where are your priorities 2 weeks ahead of being successful? Are you planning to be successful or are you planning to fail? Right? Like that just was so cool. And that's not someone that's already lost 200, 300, 400 pounds. Like that's someone in the middle of their journey. Right? And it was such an impactful conversation because we will talk the world's biggest game and say we want this, but we won't sit down and study for it. We will sit down and tell our friends that we're about to do this business, about to start this business. It's going to be big. I'm going to be rich. I'm going to be famous, popping bottles, blah, blah, blah. But then we sit down and we're playing video games for 10 hours a day. But like, weight loss doesn't happen on accident. Being successful doesn't happen on accident. Just like being obese, morbidly obese, stressed, depressed, unhappy with yourself doesn't happen on accident. Like, this stuff is planned. It has to be prioritized. Think about it. You have to be prioritized about what you're going to eat next in order for you to be overweight. As much as you need to prioritize going to the gym, actually scratch that. Eating clean, tracking your food, making better decisions, and then also going to the gym before you become successful in your journey. And it doesn't happen on accident, though. Like, are you 2 weeks ahead of your success? Like, that's insane. Like, this guy is waking up today knowing that he's not leaving for a week from now, and he already has a game plan to stay in a deficit. And some of us can't even plan today for tomorrow's success. But yet we talked about how successful we want to be today to our friends. We're talking to that girl on Instagram. We're telling her how big my brand's about to be big. It's about to be booming. I'm about to do this. I'm about to do that. The girl's like, I'm about to become a nail tech, but haven't put any work to get it done. Right? That guy's like, oh yeah, my new business is going to be booming. I got this great idea, but yet he's chilling. He's not studying. He's not learning. There's a person out right now like, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to get muscles. Right? But they're sitting in McDonald's drive-thru right now. And it's because we don't really prioritize it. We just talk about it now. We just kind of just bring it up like it's fun. Like it's nothing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. But like, I know when I was at my heaviest and I was I was most miserable in my life. Like, I didn't even believe my own self. My self-credit score of myself was so low, I couldn't even take a loan of 50 cents because I would just talk so much. And there was no action being taken, and there was nothing being done to become that guy that I wanted to become. You know, that guy that we envision, that girl that we envision. Like, I wasn't taking any action to become that person. Now, if talking was a sport, if talking a big game was a sport, I'd have been him. But at the end of the day, without action, talk is cheap, right? And if your actions is not following who you want to become, then you're just speaking a whole bunch of gibberish. If you're not taking action to the person you want to be, if you're not taking action to becoming the best husband, the best brother, the best wife, the best uncle, the best worker, the best business owner, the best boss, the best manager, the best fry maker, the best weight loss coach, the best anything. If you're not taking action to become that, and you're not planning your success and stepping towards that every single day and running towards that goal every single day, then at the end of the day, not only will people not take you serious, but worse than people not taking you serious, you don't even take your own self serious. Because you sit there and will lie to yourself every single day that I want this, I want that, I want this. This looks cool. I'm going to buy this one day. But yet we sit down on our ass every single day when we know we could be doing something that's going to help us to become better. And we choose to just sit there with play with the belly button hair. You know what I mean? You ever get lint? You ever get lint in the belly button hair? You just sitting there just like, what? How did I even get there? Right? And we just do that. But then we think that success is going to fall onto our lap. I want to, before I get going, I want to share a story. I want to share something real quick. I learned this it took me a long time to learn this story. It sounds crazy how you had to learn a story, but it took me a very long time. Actually, it took me about 20 something years to learn this story. So when I was a kid, right, my grandpa bought me a remote control car. It was like a $400 gas remote control car, right? And I really wanted it. At this time, I just had surgery on my leg, so I couldn't even walk. I couldn't even walk. For some of you might not know, I did not walk for a whole year straight. I had to go to therapy to walk again because of surgery. 12 surgeries, got infected. So I'll never forget this. It was the Yoshimo GT4. I remember the name because I wanted that thing so bad. It was so sick. It was a gas remote control car. Had a purple exhaust, purple bolts. It was sick. I was so happy to get that thing. So my grandpa bought it for me, and I didn't know he was going to buy it for me. He took me one day to the hobby shop, and we got it. I think it's for my birthday or because I had surgery. It's one of the things. And man, I got that thing. It was RTR. If you don't know what RTR means, ready to run. So all I had to do was put gas in it. We had to, prime the motor up real quick, let it run through a tank of gas or two. I was so happy. My grandpa's like, make sure you take care of it. I was like, all right, Grandpa, of course I'm going to take care of it. I wanted this thing. I'm going to take care of it, clean it, whatever. So I ended up getting the remote control car, driving it first time, enjoying it, love it, like so happy. I was so freaking happy, right? I couldn't, and honestly too, you had to pull these things, and I was in a wheelchair, so I couldn't really start it myself. I had to like hold in the wheelchair and yank it on the wheelchair, and the gas is shooting everywhere, so my grandpa would come out and help me start or whatever. And so after a while, when it wasn't so shiny anymore, and now I'm talking about a couple days, maybe even a week, right? I started driving it all crazy, always crashing it. Got to take it to the hobby shop. Drive it, put it away wet, right? Drive it, not clean it up. Gas will be everywhere. Then the motor seized up about a month later because I didn't, I let it sit for a little bit and then had to get another motor. Drove it, flipped it over a whole bunch of times, crashed, started jumping it, you know what I mean? And so after a while, like a couple months of a boy bashing a car, like it's not going to look the same anymore. It's not going to run the same. Just had no respect for it. It didn't prioritize that thing, right? As in taking care of it. So fast forward as I got older, right? When I was about 25, 26, I got back into RC cars, right? And I bought a truckie and a buggy. They're two race cars. I started to race them, right? And so I was sitting down and I was, built both the cars, raced them and stuff like that. And I was sitting down cleaning the cars. We just got done. So basically, you take damn near the whole car apart after you're done driving it, clean it because you wanted the rubbers to stay there. You don't want no rust to happen. So clean with WD-40, cleaning with the simple green, clean the tires. You take the motor out, you clean the motor out, you get the spray. It's a whole 15. It's literally if I was done driving at 6 p.m., we didn't leave until 8:30 because it took that long for me to clean these bad boys up. And I was sitting down, I was cleaning it, and I was thinking, I was like, damn, I had no cash value. I had no skin in the game. I had no type of financial investment into my first RC car that my grandpa got me. And it kind of hit me this like, you don't respect something that you didn't earn. And like, I didn't respect that car when I got it because it wasn't earned. It was given. It was given at someone else's expense. So I didn't have to put in the 30, 40, 50, 60 hours of work to get that RC car. I also didn't have to put in the 30, 40 hours of work that it took for me for to go to the hobby shop and for them to work on it. And then for my grandpa to take me over to the hobby shop 3 days later to go pick it up. I didn't have to earn any of that stuff. All right. And so when I'm sitting there cleaning, I'm just like really, you always get like cool memories of just me and my grandpa, stuff like that. I'm like, damn, like, I'm sitting here right now, years later and still being taught, lessons about life is that if you didn't earn it, you're not going to respect it. So by you speaking and talking about your weight loss journey doesn't mean that you earned it. So if you never put in the work to achieve it, then you're never going to respect it. You're never going to respect yourself enough to do it because you've been talking so much about it your whole entire life, and you've been talking about how bad you want it and how much you want it, what you're willing to do for it, but you never willing to take action. So you're never going to respect your word. But like the cool thing about life is it'll always teach you a lesson, right? Because it did take me 27 years to learn this story, right? It took me 27 years to learn this story. And it took me a couple more years to have this podcast to be able to share that so I got to learn, even though at the time I didn't respect it, over time I've got to learn that how to respect something. And the only way to learn how to respect something is prioritize it, is get it done, is not just speak about it, to really take action, to really not say that you want to get this done, but come up with a game plan of how you're going to get this done. Every single day that you wake up, are you working to become the person you keep talking to everyone about, that you keep talking to yourself about, that you dream about, that you've envisioned yourself to be, to have that family you want, to have that body you want? Are we just out here just, expecting success to fall in our lap without us putting any type of work, or with just someone just handed it to us? I'll tell you right now, if you're waiting for success to fall in your lap, if you're waiting for weight loss to fall in your lap, or for someone to do it for you, I promise you, you might as well sit down and get comfortable, because you're going to be waiting there a long ass time.
All this happened for myself and my family. There's no way that this is real, man, it can't be.